This is where the fun begins.
Clear eyes, full hearts, get loose.
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
And here we go.
Welcome back to another episode of Realish. My name is LJ Jones.
Yes, sir, Derrick.
Derrick, what's good, man?
Cannot complain. How you been, bro?
I'm good. Listen, fuck it. I'm not here for the pleasantries. I'm here. Listen, I came to this expecting to just talk about and review the Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi, Spider-Man trilogy. However, around 1:30 today, I get a text from Derrick alluding to him being an asshole, and he's gonna talk shit about this. Always. And listen, I'm not here for it, so I'm here and I'm ready to defend, man.
Hey, man. Listen, I've got a lot to say about it, but before we get started, I want to acknowledge Chadwick Boseman, who tragically passed away over the weekend. This is our first recording since that whole thing happened. So, rest in peace to the king. That is a role that I don't think anyone in Hollywood is going to be able to fill. I mean, that's something. I'm not just talking about Black Panther. I'm just talking about what he was able to do. Yeah, that's something that's rare, and to know that someone like him was going through so much and doing so much at the same time. You and I have been on sets. We know how taxing of a day that is to be on set and doing all that stuff. Even as an actor, you know how much it is to memorize lines and go through multiple takes at a time. So it's
and the way he was bulking up and bulking down, like just imagine having colon cancer and bulking up to the level that he needed to be for Black Panther. And I don't just mean for that film, but the continuation through Infinity War and Endgame. Yeah, and then to jump back down for the Five Kings or even Marshall, he was smaller in two.
Shoot. I mean, if you think about it, he probably still he probably already had it when he was filming 42, because he got diagnosed in 16.
Well, when did 42 came out before 16?
42, I think, was 15.
Oh, well, yeah, he would have had it. He would have had it. He would. But also, cancer forms quickly too. So he could have, but maybe he didn't also, because I know I lost my I guess a mentor would be the right word. He was my high school history teacher, and he was that like Mr. Feeney figure. That so he was him and I went to a private school, so literally let me break it down like this. You know how Mr. Feeney was with Corey, Topanga, and Sean throughout their entire academic journey, basically from 6th grade on. His daughter was in my class since kindergarten. His wife was my teacher in 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade.
Wow.
And then he was he was a teacher for me 7th through 12th grade. Anyway, he had been going to the doctor, like he was 50 years old, so he wanted to be as proactive as he could in his health, so he was frequently getting health checkups and all that. And I think every 4 to 6 months, because I believe he was diabetic, so he just wanted to stay on top of things. And then one visit he's fine. Next 4 to 6 months later, he has stage 3 pancreatic cancer. So it can form quickly. So who knows? Like he very well could have had it back in filming 42. And we definitely will be doing, we need to set a date to record it, but we will be doing a Chadwick Boseman dedicated episode to talk about his films. I'm a fan of his. I've seen everything he's done dating back to Lincoln Heights on ABC Family, which is now Freeform. And I just watched The Five Kings over the other night.
I don't know if I could watch that movie again. I don't even know if I can, because
it was tough.
When you're looking at his character in that film, that was already deceased, and he's coming back talking to his friends the way he was. Man, I don't know if I can even watch that. His death hit me as hard as Kobe Bryant's and Nipsey's.
Yeah.
Like just as hard. I don't cry over celebrity deaths, man. Those three I cried.
Joe Budden on the episode of his podcast that came out today, he talked about the death, obviously, and he talked about how it seems like the last 2 years, like just young, good people are passing, and is like you just said, Chadwick Boseman, Nipsey Hussle, Kobe Bryant, and those three hit me as hard as you just said it hit you. Like, I cried for those, and one that hit me equally as hard was Mac Miller. And it's just heartbreaking. I don't know what the I don't think there is a right thing to say. It's hard. But I'll say watching the Five Kings, I can see your perspective on it. I think for me, it was kind of a reminder because I had not seen it before he passed.
Oh, I watched it maybe about three weeks prior because we did a review on No Chase. Yeah.
I saw. Yeah, I heard it. Yeah. But watching it was kind of like, to me, it was what's the right word? I can't think of the word I'm trying to use, but it was bittersweet because it's like, all right, I know he's gone, but just like in this film, his presence isn't. He's left an impact, and he's here, and he's here to stay.
Sure.
Not only like, impact in terms of what he's meant to Hollywood, but in all of our hearts as fans.
For sure.
So that was my mindset as I was watching it.
Yeah, man. And I remember about 2 months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, when he released that video in dedication to Jackie Robinson. I remember seeing the video and looking at him, seeing how small he got. And immediately, that's when I knew he had to be sick, because if you've been around someone that has been sick like that, whatever it is, it doesn't matter if it's cancer or HIV or something, whatever it is. You can tell. You can tell if you've been around it.
Yeah, and there's so many people were just saying just fucked up shit. Making fun of him, and it just doesn't make sense. Like, why? Because he could have been losing that weight for a role.
That was my initial thought.
I mean, think about how small Christian Bale got for The Machinist. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It could have been for that. But of course, you have that worry, especially like you and I have been around sick people. I hope he's okay.
I thought initially he was losing weight for a role, but when I saw that video, I was like, nah, man, that's not a role, because he looked weak. It wasn't like he just looked small; he looked weak,
frail,
and that's what scared me about it. So I was actually talking to Chris about that right before we recorded one of the episodes. It may have actually been the Five Bloods we were about to record.
I've been saying the Five Kings this whole time. You didn't.
Oh yeah, my bad, man. That's because I'm thinking about him as a kid.
My fault. That's why I said King.
Yeah, we were right before we recorded. He and I were actually talking about the video, and both of us were saying he's sick, man. That's not a role thing. That's not him, And I honestly, I remember when he was on his press for Black Panther. After about, I'd say like a month or two of it, you could start seeing like he just had this look, and back then I thought
he was over it.
He's just done with doing
this.
That's what I thought. But
you can look at his filmography. He's not. Yeah. He wasn't one to do big blockbuster movies like that.
Sure.
I don't think one as an actor could turn down Black Panther, especially
how much they made.
Well, not even that. I'm just talking about like knowing him and how his heart is just known, like knowing what impact that would have on
for sure
on everybody. But like that was my thing, and I think we've talked about it here on the show, is that he just didn't want to do it anymore. he was over it. But
that's what it looked like.
Now it's just like, well, he was just sick.
He was sick, yeah. And I will say that growing up, having superheroes, like my favorite superhero is Batman. Like, you know, I have this picture right here, you know. And
I do have something about Batman I want to talk to you about, by the way.
Okay, yeah. But Batman has always been my favorite superhero growing up. But it wasn't until I saw Static Shock that I actually realized, because I've seen Storm, you know, in X-Men animated series, but it didn't hit me until I saw Static Shock that I've never seen a black superhero like that I can look at and say, oh, that's cool. And so to only know Static Shock and Storm was like, that was cool. But now, you know, being an adult and seeing how impactful a black superhero has been to black kids, that's different, bro. That's a huge impact. That's a huge impact. And I know people are already talking about, they were discussing it like maybe 2 hours after the news broke that he passed away, about who would step up to replace Black Panther, or if
there's only one option. That I think a lot of people were kind of being distasteful in their discussions, but that's soon.
Yeah, that was way too soon to be talking about it. I mean, I know that is the biggest question, since they were going to already were already in production.
Kevin Feige made a statement today. I don't know if you saw it through Variety. That, I mean, they were nearing production, like it was supposed to start in March. And they're now saying, like, his family has said up until a week before he passed, he believed he was going to beat cancer. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he did. I mean, that's a strong man. It takes a strong man to be able to go through all of that and not say a word. Now,
and let's applaud his team.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
Think about that. Like, not even just his inner circle, but the doctors and nurses and personnel that were on the staff, whether you're talking about receptionists or whoever, everyone that was not one person said one thing. Not one person. That's otherworldly, man, because I don't know if any of us can be that confident that not just our inner circle, but the people that have to help around us, if anything happened to us, would be able to keep that a secret. You know what I'm saying? Like that's beautiful, man. And absolutely. For them to you know, acknowledge his wishes and keep that, I applaud them for doing that. That's
I mean, we all I think hope to have a circle like that we could just trust.
I think most of us, if we really thought about it, we do have that circle. But I'm saying, like, not just the circle, the people that have to interact with that. That's.
And despite HIPAA laws, working in the hospital, a lot of people got big mouths, big ass
for
mouths.
Sure.
It's amazing.
And that again, that's what I'm saying. Like, even just a receptionist, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's because they could tell a family member just as something that a conversation over dinner or something like that. That person is just, you know, once they hear that, they can just go and say whatever, whenever. So for that to not even slip up in any way, shape, or form, kudos to that entire circle of people that were around him. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. So I mean, I've gone too soon, but I think he made a very high impact on not just Hollywood, but for aspiring artists.
Yeah.
You know, and I can't help but to be grateful for such a person like him. That's next level, man. That's definitely royalty.
Absolutely. And you know, he has one more film that's complete and coming out on Netflix. I don't know that there's a date. I haven't seen one.
It says something about later this year.
Yeah. later this year. I look forward to seeing that. It's gonna be tough.
That's with Denzel, right?
I'm not sure. I am
'Cause I
not sure.
heard
I would hope, like, especially with their history together, that'd be amazing.
I thought I read something about them doing a project together.
Well, he was contracted he had like 3 upcoming, I believe, including Black Panther 2. Well,
Yeah.
he's contracted for many more with MCU, but I mean, like, on slate, like, have had a schedule and stuff.
What do you think happens with Black Panther 2?
I mean, I'm seeing people saying shelf it. It's not getting shelved, and it shouldn't be shelved.
It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. I think I have two trains of thoughts.
Okay.
Over 4 films, we've seen Black Panther, we've seen T'Challa, Captain America: Civil War, Black Panther, Infinity War, and Endgame. Right.
Yeah.
So between those 4 films, I would assume that there is a good amount of footage that was not used for those films, and he has brothers. So I would say in option. I've never seen his brothers, so I don't know how close they look alike. But they can do what they did for Paul Walker in Fast and Furious, potentially.
That's what I was thinking.
Now, it may be different there because Paul Walker had shot half of the film.
Yeah, and see, the thing about that too is that Universal was trash with how they handled that. That was, in terms of execution, it was garbage. Like, it looked like to me his face was floating on the head.
I didn't think it was that bad.
I thought it was horrible. Especially that last shot where he was in a car and he was looking at Vin Diesel. That looked like his head was floating on the body. It just didn't fit right.
I think they did the best they could with an impossible situation.
For sure.
Now, well, we're not here to talk about Fast and Furious. That's for another conversation. And my second thing that only makes sense is to pass the mantle down to Shuri. Happens in the comic books.
It does.
I'm a big advocate for representation matters. So I would say that seeing a black queen take over the mantle would be amazing.
I wouldn't mind seeing that either. I think that,
and I love Letitia Wright. I think she's perfect in that role.
Yeah.
Now there had been rumors in the past before all of this that I can't remember the character, but she would become the female version of Iron Man because of her. Ironheart, like take over Stark Industries and all that. Which sure, I guess. But I would prefer to see her take over Black Panther, especially now.
Here's the thing. I think that I read something the other day. A comic fan was talking about Shuri does take over the mantle, but it's like further down the story. So we would be skipping the story, and that's probably the only issue with it. My other thing with it is that if Black Panther is not a male, then it's kind of hard to introduce Storm through Black Panther 2 to then introduce the X-Men into the MCU. So that's where my thoughts are now. Like, you know, if they were to choose someone else to be Black Panther, which Black Panther is passed down generations, right? Like it's not like one specific person that is Black Panther. So it makes sense. It's almost like it's like the ideal type of thing, like Batman.
I did have one other theory. Can't think of the character's name or even the actor's name right now. And it's going to piss me off when you say it. Not Winston Dukes and Baku. From Get Out, Daniel
Kaluuya, I think. Kaluuya or something.
Okay,
I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name for real though.
And I forget what his character's name was. He basically turned his back on T'Challa and sided with Killmonger out of rage and anger. There could be a good redemption story there. for him to take over the mantle as Black Panther. I would prefer Shuri personally, me, but
I would love to see Shuri. I just want to see, like, it would just make sense for them to introduce the X-Men through introducing Storm.
so they introduced Storm via Black Panther through a relationship, right? In the comics.
Yeah, because Storm and Black Panther, I believe they actually got married.
Listen,
So
they can still do it. I mean, I don't. I think.
so you're saying Shuri as Black Panther, and they just have their lesbians.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I'd be fine with that. Like I said, representation matters. There's I think that would be trying to. They say Valkyrie is a lesbian.
She is.
Haven't really seen much of that in the MCU, and I would like to.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool. I know. I've read that Letitia Wright is strictly religious, so I'm not sure she would agree to that.
Yeah.
And that's not to say she's homophobic in any way. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure she would agree to that storyline.
But see, that's the thing too. I'm completely down for the representation. I just think that going far off script with characters is going to piss off the comic book audience. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have a problem with veering off too much. I think that there's room for interpretation. I think there's room for expanding thoughts of line of thoughts for different characters. But for established characters, I don't know that I really want to see too much change like that. Like I would
understand.
I would personally prefer if they were to introduce Storm that way, to introduce Storm with Black Panther, the male Black Panther, to coincide with the comic books.
Would you prefer I don't think they could just bring in a new character that wasn't.
I think that's what's going to end up happening, because I believe the way I see it, I believe they're going to end up acknowledging T'Challa has passed away, and have the burial and stuff like that, and they're gonna find a new Black Panther, and in that, then we see the relationship with Storm, and then they move on, because I don't see how else. To be completely honest,
you don't like the idea of Daniel, whatever his last name is, or even M'Baku taking over because he challenged for it, and then there's a reconciliation between the two of them as is, and he fought alongside.
Winston Duke is too big, man.
He's very big.
He How about this? If they figured out a way to bring Michael Jordan back as Killmonger,
yeah,
I wouldn't have an issue with that.
Now, Killmonger has been revived in the comic books, so I mean they can work that out, assuming Michael B. Jordan. And now I would say I wouldn't be surprised if Michael B. Jordan would want to do that to honor Chadwick Boseman. Otherwise, I don't think he would have wanted to.
Yeah, that's
considering the situation, maybe he would want to simply just honor Chadwick.
Yeah. That to me is just something that I think would end up happening. Because even in Black Panther, you had the agent. I forget his name.
I forget his name too. I just watched it yesterday.
I just watched it Saturday, so I don't even know. I'm forgetting the names that fast. But that agent got shot in the back. Basically, I think they're gonna go along the lines of healing Killmonger, even though he got stabbed. I think they're gonna go along the lines of just bringing him back, putting him in a pit, bringing him back, and then go from there.
So, well, I almost just
even though it's against his wishes.
Yeah, it almost confused my worlds out. DC, I was going to say Lazarus Pit. I'm sure something like that exists in Marvel that they could write into it. But also, we didn't see Killmonger die.
We saw him pass out. We saw him. He pulled it out of his chest.
So for all we know, he could have been in Shuri's lab this whole time while she's trying to revive him.
Which is what I'm thinking is happening. And then you say Black Panther was killed in battle or something like that. I don't know. there's different ways you can do it.
But seeing Killmonger come back as more of a anti-hero would be really good, really cool.
Yeah.
Killmonger in Black Panther, like I said, is probably my favorite MCU villain.
Me too.
I think my only issue is that he wasn't in it as much as I would have liked to have seen him. He disappeared for 45 minutes in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
that's true.
and that's, I'm not bagging on the movie. The movie's amazing, but I would have liked to have seen Killmonger a little more.
Yeah.
I did think it was interesting that they killed Claw off because Claw is his number one. Black Panther's number one enemy in the comics. So the fact that you didn't even see, you did, but for a brief fight, you saw Killmonger fight, you saw Black Panther fight Claw.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's one of those things. They could definitely rewrite it, bring Killmonger back.
Yeah.
And just let him go from there. I don't know if they do, but to me that seems like the most logical place to go. Because M'Baku is perfect in his role, man. That Winston Duke was perfect as M'Baku, and I don't want to see him change from that character to Black Panther.
But what is M'Baku's character like in terms of the comic book? Like where does he go from here?
I can't tell you.
Film.
Yeah. That I can't tell you. I know. I forget what
he has his own tribe
King or something like that. But he had his own comic book too, I think.
Yeah.
So like it's
was it the Jabari tribe? Is that what it was called?
Yeah. But it's like a whole story. So I don't, and I know he battled Black Panther. So I don't want to see him move from that role because I don't want someone else to take over that role. I think he's perfect for that. You just, bring Killmonger in. This is a transitional period in the MCU anyway. And I
trust the MCU. So whatever they do, I know they're going to do well.
For sure.
Unless it's Thor 2, The Dark World.
Hey man, look. That was a mess up.
But that was their only one.
I didn't enjoy it. But yeah, I mean, well, okay. So like I've already told you, Captain America, the first one was absolute garbage to me.
I don't think it was garbage. It's if you don't like period pieces, it's boring.
Which is my thing. I'm not big into period pieces like that. Yeah. To where I want to see. Now, if I want to go see a movie that has to deal with that time, I'll go watch something along those lines, maybe Braveheart or something like that, and I'll be cool. But I'm not into movies like that, so I'm not really going to be intrigued with watching it. But to me, that's between Captain America and Thor. I didn't entirely enjoy the first Thor either. But I'm not going to say it was
three was the best.
Thor. 3 was the best one, yeah. But for me, I think those would probably just be the 3 movies that I think were the worst for Marvel, in my opinion. But people loved them. People still loved it. So that's just me. I fell asleep on Captain America 3 times. I had to watch the movie 3 times to finish it. So
and Captain America 2 is one of the best MCU films. Period.
Yeah. Oh, it made up for the first one, I guarantee. It made up. Yeah. So
now I don't really enjoy period pieces. I didn't love Captain America 1, but I'm not going to say it's trash because there's a lot of good in it. I just definitely think they could have done something different than using a small man's body and putting Chris Evans' head on it. That was
there's
the same
a learning
thing.
curve.
Let me tell you. When I was, are you familiar with the movie The Love Guru with Mike Myers?
I didn't watch it, no.
But you've heard of it.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Okay. So when I'm like 10, 11 years old, did audition for my agent to play a young Mike Myers in The Love Guru. I go through a couple rounds of auditions. It's a small, I think 2-scene flashback role. and I go through a couple rounds, right? So it seems good, and then my agent is informed that they've decided to just use a child's body and put Mike Myers' adult head on. And when I saw Captain America, I was like, these motherfuckers did the same thing. I mean, but that wasn't a child. That was just a small man's body.
It was
But
a small man, and it was very weird, very weird. Yeah. See, for me, I'm one of those people that I like to see as much real as possible. I would prefer to
salute
stay
Chris
away.
Nolan.
Yeah, and that's really why he's one of my favorite directors. So. If I were directing Captain America, that would have been the thing I would have told Chris Evans, yo, you got to drop the weight. You got to drop it fast.
And he could have dropped the weight. He could have they like used movie magic to make him appear shorter than he was.
Well, see, that's the thing. They could have shot that part of it before he bulked up for the character, because
they made it drastic, which it was impactful, I guess, like to see the drastic change. Sure.
Yeah. He didn't need to be that puny though.
But can I say, like, Segway King here. Similarly to in Spider-Man 1 with Tobey Maguire after he gets the spider bite.
I was going to actually talk to you about that.
I think, and I don't think Captain America needed to be short. I'm not familiar with the comic books, so maybe he was short. I never read Captain America comic books. Maybe he was short. I don't know. But they could have just used a small, tiny Chris Evans in his natural height. Yeah. And then after the serum goes into him and he comes out, now he's just a buff motherfucker. They could have just done that, which, Peter Parker in Spider-Man 1 gets bit, and then boom, he's a tough son of a bitch.
Let's go ahead and talk about Spider-Man, man. But let me say salute to Chadwick Boseman. We love you. Absolutely. Much respect. Absolutely. And we'll miss you.
Absolutely. All right, Spider-Man 1. I'm not gonna sit here and say that there's not flaws in any of them, because I'm an actor. I'm a filmmaker. Like but they're not as bad as I know you're about to make them out to be.
Bro, I study films when I watch them, right? Like, I found so much with this wrong.
Let's remember this. Let's remember the timing. It was shot in 99.
Right. Which that's the thing. I trust me. I get it. I'm not going to talk bad about it in terms of.
Let's remember it paved the way.
It paved the way. And well, you know what? Blade technically started all of this.
What year did Blade come out?
I don't even know. I think it was like mid-90s, I think. If I'm not mistaken.
I never saw Blade. I'll be honest with you. I want to. I've never seen it. I need to.
Oh, man. You need to see all.
I want to see the Blades before Mahershala Ali's Blade. I know I need.
You definitely need to. Yes.
I know I like him. I know. I just never had the.
I didn't like the third one.
I've never seen Blade on TV. I've never seen DVDs of Blade out. Now I can buy them on digital. I just hadn't thought of it. But
it's the character is really, really good. Wesley Snipes killed that role. Loved it.
Yeah. But all right.
Yeah, he paved the way. But this Spider-Man opened the door for the MCU the way we have it right now.
Yes. Let's now, we've gone a while already. We don't need to go step by step throughout the films. Let's give the film its flowers, and then let's talk about the negatives. We'll go through 1, 2, and 3, and 3 will be fast.
Oh yeah, I don't even know there's to be much said about 3.
So all right, let's talk a performance from Tobey Maguire in 1.
Right. I
think Tobey Maguire probably at the time was the best choice, because Leonardo DiCaprio was up for it. Gyllenhaal
trash.
Gyllenhaal was up for it. Though, look, I'm completely heterosexual. Those are both gorgeous men, and And look, I think to me, and I think Peter is supposed to be, especially in the comics, which this was Raimi doing his best to lift from the comments or the comics. He should look nerdy. He should look, maybe not goofy is not the right word, but he should not be
Awkward.
He should be awkward. He should not appeal to the ladies in the school.
For sure.
Tobey Maguire, I know. Look, Tobey Maguire. Let's talk. I don't know if you're familiar with this. This made me laugh when I heard about it years ago. Leonardo DiCaprio, Tobey Maguire, and Kevin Connolly from Entourage. Mm-hmm. They were like three best friends, like Alan says in The Hangover. They were. I love that movie, man. I know. They called their group Pussy Patrol. Have you ever heard of that?
It's like I don't. You talking about with Hangover, right?
No, I'm talking about real life. Leonardo DiCaprio, Kevin Connolly, and Tobey Maguire would go to nightclubs in LA and call themselves the Pussy Patrol. Now look, Tobey Maguire, listen, what did he do before Spider-Man? Pleasantville? Is he getting pussy off of Pleasantville?
Possibly. Possibly. Listen, I've seen Pleasantville.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It's cool. It's cool.
And he was a dork in that as well.
Yeah. He plays a dork.
So
very
listen,
well.
I think he fit well in the character. I think he was a great Peter. He might be the best Peter we've seen. Andrew Garfield was a shit Peter.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Tom Holland is a good Peter. I still think he's too attractive for it. He plays awkward perfectly. He's a great awkward performer. But Tobey Maguire, I know a lot of people have the gripe that he appeared too old. I don't think he did. Joe Manganiello.
Yes, he did.
I don't think so.
Yes,
but listen,
dude was about 27 years old when he filmed this film.
Who cares? Jason Earl from Hannah Montana was 40 when he played 16 on the show.
He looked the age.
Listen, he did. But I think Tobey Maguire looked the age. Now let's remember he was in high school for 20 minutes of the movie, and then he graduated and he's out of high school. He's in college. Fine. I think.
Come on, bro.
I think Franco worked in terms of age and look. I think Kirsten Dunst worked well. I'm just talking how it looks for the age. Mm-hmm. Manganiello, no, he looked 47.
He looked much younger looking back, but yeah.
One of the flaws, since we're talking about age, was the fact that when in the beginning of the film, when they're on their field trip, their teacher looked younger.
Their teacher looked like he was mad young.
He looked like, what was that? Oh man, what was the Disney cartoon in the early 2000s? Oh man.
I know what you're talking about, and I don't know the name of the show.
Because I listen, my son loves Spider-Man. Yeah. I watch all of them all the time with him. Like, and even without him, I watch Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man trilogy on my own at least once a month. I love. Now, okay. I want to preface this with saying
that gives
Spider-Man.
This trilogy too much credit.
Spider-Man 1 was the film that made me want to be an actor.
Okay, and The Matrix was my film that got me into media production. So I get how
so like I don't yet, but I like how he gets bit by a spider here. I'm gonna get a tattoo of his spider emblem logo, whatever, right here.
That would be dope. And that's probably the only thing of this movie that I could say they consistently kept. That bite was on his hand throughout the entire film, mm-hmm. which I found because I never picked up on that when I was younger, but watching it again, I saw, that's very interesting.
Let's talk transition. So he gets a spider bite. How did you feel about his transition?
Too fast.
No,
for it to be overnight.
I'm not talking about his transition to hero. I'm talking about just
No, like from getting bit to now realizing he's got powers. I thought
yeah.
I thought it was a little fast for it to be an overnight thing.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
Told. That I understand why they did it, but I the pace to me could have gone a little bit slower for that, and then boom, there you go. Because dude got jacked up pretty quick.
A lot of people
for 8 hours.
A lot of people say that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man learned to be a hero way too fast. Now, remember, I just said hero. So from him being nerdy Peter Parker to being Spider-Man, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was too fast. I think they gave it a lot of time, maybe too much time, in my opinion. Remember him, because I've seen even like Kevin Smith talk about how Tom Holland's Spider-Man in Homecoming, he's not a great hero. Like, he's clumsy and he's this and he's that and he's messing up and sure.
Still trying to figure out his way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But let's remember Tobey Maguire's transition into hero as he's trying to, I'm climbing up this wall, like it's going slow. He's trying to learn. He's like, oh wait, I can shoot webs, I can swing, and he's falling, and he like I think that was decent. So we covered transition. Let's talk villain. Willem Dafoe. I love Willem Dafoe in anything and everything that he does. And I think that he was the best option for Green Goblin. I think he should have got the Joker because of his performance in Green Goblin. And there were bits and pieces of clunky dialogue, and I know you're going to say when in the one scene where he's like, we'll meet again, Spider-Man. Like, I know you're going to mention that, but let's that is comic book writing, right?
Oh,
Tell me that you wouldn't read that in a comic book.
Bro, look, that's one thing I will say. This movie sticks to comic book feel while you're watching it, for sure. The exaggerations, the
that might be a bad thing for some people, but for some people it might be great. So wherever you sit on that fence is fine. There's nothing wrong with either. I give the respect for sticking to that comic book feel.
Yeah, I think for the time it was good. But
for the time.
But watching back on it, after seeing so many comic book movies, to me it makes it seem cheesy. Because the other movies that we've seen, whether you want to talk about the Batman Begins trilogy, you want to talk about any of the Marvel films, they don't have that comic book feel. They have the
I don't
feel
think
of
the Dark
character.
Knight trilogy was supposed to have a
Oh no, that was set in realism, for sure.
Yeah.
But
so I'll leave that one as is. The X-Men movies were cool.
Did you really think that?
So they were cool. I didn't say they were great.
Okay.
All
right. Hugh Jackman's the only part of them. Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart are the only two pieces of that entire franchise that I loved.
So I thought you were gonna say I was blasphemous if I was.
My guy Ian
McKellen
that played Magneto.
So would you call me blasphemous if I said Halle Berry wasn't as amazing as people say she was in this?
She was absolute garbage. And you ain't gonna.
Okay.
like you're not. She was garbage as Storm. She was garbage as Catwoman. So I'm not.
I was at a label. The label I'm signed to as a rapper. I was at the label Halloween party last year, debating with my co-laborers that Halle Berry was amazing as Storm. I'm like, no, what the fuck, she wasn't.
She wasn't. She didn't even have an African accent.
And listen, James Marsden is a wonderful actor. I didn't love him as whatever the fuck I forget his character's name. And
he was Cyclops.
I didn't like him as Cyclops. Why are we talking about X-Men? It's not X-Men's not
Oh, we were talking about the comic book feel of the film.
a lot of people loved X-Men. I was not one that loved them. I think they were cool. I think I did Logan and X-Men Days of Future Past were the two that I loved.
Logan was it for me.
You didn't like Days of Future Past? No, I like that one. I did like Days of Future Past. I think the Wolverine movies were trash.
That one where I think he was was he in China in that film? I've only seen the movie one time. I think that was Wolverine.
I've seen all of them one time except for Logan. I've seen twice.
Okay, Logan was really good. I enjoyed that one. But the other ones I wasn't a fan of.
So in terms of comic book feel, aside from Spider-Man and Smallville, who practically just coincided in time, there was no other comic book feel until Iron Man. Because I'm not going to say the Dark Knight trilogy had a comic book feel because that was real. Yeah. I'm not even going to say. I guess you could say Fantastic Four 1 and 2 did.
Do you count those
as what?
Anything?
I
don't really count them, bro. I hated them as a kid.
As a kid, I liked 1. I thought 1 was cool because I was a Fantastic Four. I loved the comic books and I loved the cartoon. So to see
I was a fan of the cartoon.
So to see that live action, I thought was cool. I would say even as a kid, I thought Chris Evans was the strongest part of the movie.
He was for sure.
And as you know, not that it would ever happen, maybe, but Human Torch is the comic book character that I love, that I would love to play as an actor. My three that I would love to play in order is Human Torch, Hellboy.
Oh man,
I think I could do a good Hellboy.
Yeah.
And I know this isn't a hero, but back to Spider-Man, Harry Osborn is the Hobgoblin. Those are my three. That I would love to tackle as an actor.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Now, yeah, I mean, look, Rise of the Silver Surfer was not good, and the first one wasn't good either. But
they were much better than the Michael B. Jordan version.
Yeah,
both of them were better.
And we can talk about that. There was only one Michael B. Jordan Fantastic Four.
That's what I'm saying. Both.
Oh, I thought you said both of them.
No, I'm saying both.
Both. Yeah.
The originals were better than that one. Yeah.
This is my opinion on Fan-Forstic. Are you there? Looks like you froze, my guy. You there?
I'm here.
Oh, yeah, you froze up. Fan-Forstic. This is what I say. If you watch Fantastic Four, the Michael B. Jordan 2015 Josh Trank film, if you watch it as a superhero film, it is garbage. If you watch it as a sci-fi film, it's decent. It's good. If you watch it from that mindset, because these boys don't get their powers till the last 22 minutes of the movie.
If you watch it as anything, that mess is trash.
and listen, Josh Trank is a good filmmaker. I am not blaming him in any way. I am blaming Fox for that because Fox is trash.
Fox is to blame for a lot of things. So I have no issue saying that.
So let's go back to Spider-Man. Spider-Man 1 had that comic book feel. Green Goblin, what did you think?
I believe Willem Dafoe was excellent choice for that role. I did so. I've told you already how I feel with about continuity. To me, that's something that when you're on set, if you have someone that is supposed to be over that, that's something that person should be like honed in on.
Yeah.
I don't know if they had anyone on set for that at all, because I was picking up on issues with continuity left and right.
regarding the Green Goblin or in general?
just the entire film.
Let me know. What are some specifics?
One of the very first things I saw when Norman was getting into the chamber, he got onto that he laid down on that thing,
yeah,
and didn't have any electrodes on him at all whatsoever. He just laid down. He said, "Oh, this is cold." All of a sudden, Dr. Strom goes to push the button, and he's got electrodes all over. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's an issue. That takes me out of the movie right there, because I'm like, I had to rewind it. I was like, hold up, how did he get those electrodes on? Did he put them on himself? No, he sure did not. It was just, they were just there. One other thing that I realized is they used a lot of voiceover for this film. They used a lot of voiceover. There were a few scenes where Green Goblin was had an extreme close up, and you could see through the mouthpiece of the mask where it had like this mesh type of fabric on it.
Yeah.
Defoe's mouth wasn't moving whatsoever, yet Green Goblin is talking. Toby wasn't talking a lot of times. He was just standing there, but he's just talking. And those things to me are big issues. Now I know this was shot almost 20 years ago, but
over 20 years ago.
Really? Because I know it came out in 2002. Was it actually shot in 99? Okay.
Beginning 99, 2000. So 21, 22 years.
Okay. So taking that into consideration, I understand it, but those are huge issues for me. Huge issues. Forgot what the other continuity thing was with that film. Well, I guess you could really just say how fast Peter just grew, like overnight. I would have liked to have seen that been a transition thing, even if it was a week. Fine, I'm fine with that. But you're gonna tell me dude goes to bed skinny, wakes up strong as hell.
That goes back to it goes back to the same movie with Green Goblin.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But it's not the first or only or last movie that's done stuff like that. Other superhero films have done that too. We just talked about Captain America doing the same thing. So I don't know.
And I have an issue with that. but that was a serum, so that can be explained.
This is Venom going into his bloodstream.
Yes, changing the molecular structure of his body. I get it, but that fast? Not even a day. If you gave me a day, I'd have been okay. Dude went to bed scrawny, woke up muscular.
It was practically a day. He gets home at 3 p.m. He wakes up at 7 a.m. the next 7, 8 a.m. the next morning. It's practically a day. You want those 6 hours?
I want the time. I want to see the progression. I want to see him slowly realize, oh, I can stick to walls. Oh, I can shoot web.
He did.
I'm saying before he is muscular, I want to see those things before he realizes full strength.
We need to remember that especially back then, the fact that a studio was allotting any money for a superhero film, they were not allotting for a 2-hour runtime. The movie's an hour 40 something minutes, including credits.
That was close to 2 hours.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So they have all this story that they need to say. It wasn't quite 2 hours, but they credits run 8 minutes typically.
I will say this though. One thing about this film that took me back to nostalgia was the beginning. The beginning credits. You don't see that with films anymore.
I hate that.
But I don't. I've always been fascinated with that, with seeing who did what, like that for me has always been something that I've been drawn to. I actually love that at the beginning. I love that.
Let me just add. It was. I'm not against credits. I'm one who sits in the theater watching the credits to the end. I want to give all the creators their flowers.
Yeah, me too.
I'm just ready for the film to start. You know what I mean? Like I'm here to see the film.
Yes.
Now, one thing I was watching Jeremy John's YouTube film critic. He's been going back and reviewing a lot of older films, and he did Spider-Man, and he talked about how he worked in a movie theater at the time when the first trailer came out.
Oh wow.
And he was a projectionist. So he's sitting there and he's watching, and he's like, and if you go back and watch the trailer, I'll send you the link. He's sitting there, man, and he's talking about how when you see it, it opens up kind of like a bank robbery, and it's scenes that weren't in the film. And
That's always been my issue with trailers.
yeah, but it just seems like it's a heist movie, right?
Yeah.
That's what it seems like, until it gets to the point where there's this shot that is just gorgeous, and it's the reveal that it's Spider-Man. And it's it's the Twin Towers with a spider web in between, with the helicopter stuck in there. And I think that was beautiful. Now, of course, 9/11 happened, and they took that out of the film. That is a phenomenal. That takes me back to the comics. Just that.
Shoot, speaking of that, though, they even have a poster that was for a promotion where Spider-Man was looking off into the distance, and you can see in his left goggle the Twin Towers.
Yeah.
They ended up pulled those posters off. So if you find that poster, you could that's one of those collector's items.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I'm gonna look for.
So Spider-Man 1. Let's just talk the co-stars real quick. Harry, James Franco's Harry Osborn. Were you a fan? What did you think of his the way the character was written, and what did you think of his performance?
James Franco's performance was excellent. I would have liked to have seen a little more depth with his character, though. I would have liked to have seen I don't know, maybe a little more, just a little more. I there was something to me that just felt lacking with his character, but I think in totality, James Franco was great casting for that role. Still,
he auditioned for Peter. Would you have preferred him as Peter?
Hell no.
Neither. I think he's perfect for Harry.
He was perfect for Harry. I see, my whole thing with this is, and I know I keep talking about this, everybody's just too old for their roles. Everybody's just too old. Like, if you're talking about their characters, like in college, like juniors or seniors in college, I'm cool with that. But that's not where they started.
All 80s, 90s, early 2000 films had the same thing. So I feel like people are unfair in judging Spider-Man for doing the same thing that every film did.
I criticize pretty much everything that's like
I know.
that.
Yeah.
But that's my issue with the film. It's just that everybody's just too old. Everybody is too old to be playing those roles.
Even Kirsten Dunst, because I thought she looked young. She was about, I think, 20.
She had coffee stained teeth, bro. She had coffee stained teeth.
That has nothing to do with my question. I asked about her age.
What high school kid do you know has coffee stained teeth?
Everybody in my high school.
I've never.
When I was in high school, all my classmates were drinking coffee all day. Well, in the morning.
I had never seen that with a high school student.
Yeah.
Never. I mean, not as drastic as what hers appeared. Now her teeth got whiter as the movie, the series went on.
The more money she got, her teeth got whiter. I don't know that it probably wasn't coffee.
It probably wasn't, but it just aged her though. It looked like she was in her late 20s, early 30s, just based off of that.
She's gorgeous. She's beautiful. I think my son, when he was 2 years old, and to this day he's 5 now. He's like, that's my girlfriend. But it's because it's MJ.
It's MJ.
Gwen Stacy's his girlfriend. Zendaya's his girlfriend. Listen.
Salute. Zendaya's a good choice.
And we should have that talk about. Apparently, they're going to bring in the real MJ in the next Spider-Man, and okay, there's another.
I don't. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, we can go a whole episode on that one. But I will say though, she was good. Kirsten Dunst was good, but
my issue was that she was a damsel in distress in every film.
That's what I was about to say. That was too much. Issue. That was too much because she seemed to have the worst luck. Every villain went for her. Every single villain, bro. Look, the Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Hobgoblin, Sandman.
Hobgoblin didn't.
Yes, he did. He took her. He took her and said, if you want Peter to live."
He didn't kidnap her.
He did. He did.
He let her go. He
busted into her apartment and choked her, bro. What else do you want?
But hey, I'm Hobgoblin. Hey, do me one solid. I'll take my hand off your throat. Do me a solid. You go talk to Peter. You leave him, and then you're free to go. I dated you back in 1, so we're cool. Just go do me this one solid. That's what I took it as.
But
now I know
it. He still kidnapped her though, go do that, and Venom got her. Sandman got her. She just has the worst luck. She has the worst luck of.
But that is so 90s, and that is so 90s. That is so 2000.
It is, and it's an issue. That's my biggest issue with this whole trilogy is that she seemed to be the weakest person, and I don't that.
And in the comics, she becomes Spider-Girl.
Yeah,
that could have been something
she's
that
strong. She's a strong person.
They could have potentially, and maybe they eventually would have, but to have her be the one that he has to save. But okay, so in the same breath, I do want to say, I think that if you compare the 3 different Spider-Men and their films, I think Tobey Maguire's understood the depth of the consequences of being a hero more so than Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland's. He understood, and that's why at the end of 1, when MJ's like, "I love you, Peter. I want to be with you." As much as he goggles over this woman, he wants to be with her more than anything. But now, coming off of what happened with Green Goblin, he's like, "I can't, because that will happen to you more." You know what I mean? I think that he understands the totality and the potential consequences of him being a hero more so than the other 2, and that is something that I really appreciate from a storytelling aspect.
I'll agree with it. I'll agree with that, but that's probably the only thing I can say that his character has over Tom Holland's.
I disagree.
I think
now, and I want to just make it clear, I'm not shitting on Tom Holland. I think Tom Holland's great. I'm not. It's not like I'll shit on Andrew Garfield. That's a different story. And Andrew Garfield,
Peter Parker. That's.
And Andrew Garfield is a phenomenal actor, by the way. I just don't think Spider-Man was him.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
Watch 99 Homes.
Watch 99
Homes. Him and Michael Shannon. Great fucking movie.
Oh yeah, I love Michael Shannon.
It's on Amazon Prime.
It was perfect for recasting to go to Tom Holland and move forward.
Yes.
But there is nothing about this trilogy that makes me say his Spider-Man is superior. His Peter Parker is superior to Tom Holland's. It's nostalgic and it was good for what it was, but there's nothing that makes me say that.
All right, so you want to have that conversation of the comparison. I think when I look at Tom Holland's Spider-Man, as great as he is, I have a hard time looking at him as Spider-Man. I look at him as Iron Lad. And that's not I'm not kidding. To me, he hangs on to Iron Lad from the comics. Are you familiar with Iron Lad?
I'm not at all. Not at all.
It's Iron Boy, like Superboy in the DC. To me, he is just Iron Lad. Like he feels more like that than a Spider-Man to me because of how much he hangs on to Iron Man. Now and his death and everything that was beautiful, and I cried in the theater, like watching in Infinity War when Tom Holland dust and in Endgame when
hold up, that made you cry?
Oh hell yeah.
I was watching it in theater and I'm like, he's coming back somehow, some way because it's Spider-Man 2. And they already announced it.
Obviously.
No, they already announced it. Cause I was like, dude's coming back. Like,
all of them are coming back. They all had sequels. They all had announced sequels.
They did.
But it doesn't take away from that how powerful that moment was.
I didn't cry.
I shed a lot of thug tears in film. A lot of thug tears all the time for me. Listen.
Yeah.
I cried, and to this day when I watch Endgame, no, I'm not bawling. I shed a tear. When in the beginning, when they get back to Earth and Cap is helping Tony, and Tony's like, I lost a kid. Like that like the that,
oh yeah, you can feel the weight of that.
That broke my heart because like he took responsibility. Because then you remember in Home Game when he's like, they have that moment where they're arguing and he's like, no, if something happens to you, kid, that's on me. Like so, the fact that something did happen to him, the weight of that on Tony was immeasurable.
No, I felt that. I definitely did. But
what do you think about what I know you don't know who Iron Lad is, but how do you feel? Like I think that Spider-Man in the comics, in the cartoons, previously in the films is a hero that can stand on its own, in the sense where his villains aren't Thanos level, right?
Yes,
his villains are and we've got that. Vulture was one that he can handle, right?
He even had Shocker too.
Had Shocker, and that was great. And let's give Bokeem Woodbine his flowers because he's an amazing actor in everything. But I think Spider-Man doesn't need to be tethered to Iron Man and the greater MCU. I think he should be involved in the new Avengers films that are coming out. I just don't think he needs to be tethered because I think he can handle things on his own. Now, and that is my issue with no. And again, I don't want it to sound like I'm shitting on Tom Holland or his series because I think they're great. I just feel like the fact that it's so heavily tethered to the MCU, it's almost like they don't trust him to be able to handle it on his own.
Well, see, that to me makes sense.
You have Robert Downey Jr. in one. You have Samuel Jackson and Kobe Smolder in two, and now they're saying that he's getting Anthony Mackie and Brie Larson in three. Like, it's too much. I know he's on the run and he needs help. Come on, like I get it, but that's something that I enjoy that Toby's could handle his shit.
I'll say this: the reason why Tom Holland's is more realistic to me is because you're talking about someone that started doing this when he was 16, 17. Still a kid.
He's a kid.
Still a kid. And you need to mentor him because think about it. Like, I know when I was 16, 17 years old, I thought I knew everything.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was Spider-Man at 16, 17 years old, you're not gonna be able to tell me anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's the boneheaded perspective, but having someone that you admire that's willing to take you under their wing and be your mentor to show you to show you the ropes and how to do all this, to me seems more realistic because now we will see him once he gets off the run with this basically a manhunt. Yeah, once that whole
I hope it's Kraven.
I would love to see Kraven. But once we see him grow into we've seen him grow into the character. But once we see him not have to be tethered to someone, I think you'll see the full dynamic of what Spider-Man will be as college student, young adult. I think
And they're
we'll see that.
doing the 6 solo films, which is great.
Yeah,
Spider-Man is my favorite hero from the comic books,
yeah,
from the animations, from the films. I love it.
yeah. They're
And
playing the long
so
game with his version, so that's why I love it. But
yeah.
even going back to the Spider-Man trilogy, though, uh, uh, yeah, Peter was able to handle his own with the villains, but he couldn't handle his own in real life, like
And
his
that right
personal
there is
life.
something that I loved because Spider-Man, any hero probably wouldn't. That,
For
you know what I
sure,
mean? Like
for sure.
that balance. That okay, well he lives in a shitty studio apartment with a communal bathroom for the entire floor. Like
Yeah,
because he's not barely making any money at the Daily Bugle. You come into Spider-Man 2 and he's delivering pizzas at
yeah. Which
that
shout out
like
to
I.
Donnell Rawlings. I didn't know
Mhm.
he was even in that movie
Oh, you
until
didn't?
about 2 years ago. And then I went back and I saw. I was like, "Oh snap, that was him." So I
Mhm.
love seeing him in that. And I actually think the Spider-Man 2 was the best shot of the
Yeah,
three. That the
I agree.
cinematic approach to that film was the best of the
So
trilogy.
before we jump into 2, 1, what do you rate it? You want to you want to rate it like give it an old school rating A B C D F, or you want to do numbers? What do you
1 to
think?
10.
Okay,
1, I'll give 1
don't be
8.5.
8.5. Okay, that's better than I thought you were gonna give because you've been shitting on it, not giving it no flowers. Um,
Well, I do take into consideration the time in which it was shot, the fact that it was one of those films that was early stage for Marvel's cinema universe, so that
Green, Green
makes
Green
sense.
Goblin alone to me was such a phenomenal villain for this film. Willem Dafoe's portrayal was amazing. I think uh, out of the 3 films, in terms of villains, I felt like Green Goblin was scary. I'm not saying a
Yeah,
horror film
yeah,
scary, but
yeah, yeah,
menacing.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Um,
and that's another thing. He was he. You could tell, you could feel his evilness. You could feel his
yeah,
vindictiveness. You could feel his hatred. So I appreciate Willem Dafoe is, to me, he's one of the most underrated. If you had a list of 1 to 10 of underrated actors, to me he would have to be on that list.
yeah.
So I love what he brings to the film.
One
I
thing,
think some of the pacing to me was an issue. That
yeah.
that that I will say
Look,
was definitely an issue.
I'm happy with the 8.5 rating on that. I'll give it. I was going to say the same, but I'll probably give it a 9. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably give it a 9, and that's you got, like you said, you got to look at it for the timing. Some of it probably, like cinematically, number 2 was better.
Oh, hands down.
So I'm gonna give it a 9. But one thing I do want to say about this trilogy that they did that I don't think the MCU got right until Killmonger. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Killmonger was a villain that you can look at and see the good in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
He's and I
yeah.
think and hear me out
And
because
he
I feel like
wasn't wrong at all.
no.
He
Now
wasn't wrong.
so something now done differently, but I think each villain in this trilogy were not bad people. Um, Norman Osborn had that serum fucked with his brain, right? So it was almost like he had a personality disorder. He wasn't Green Goblin 24/7. It was when that flip switched. You know what I mean? Um,
Oh, when that serum hit, he was definitely Green Goblin 24/7.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
well, no, I don't think. But see, there's moments where like when he's in the house talking to the mirror, you know what I mean, when he's having those conversations, when he realizes that Peter is Spider-Man, and he's like no, I can't, because it's Harry's best friend is Peter. And then you
yeah,
look earlier on in the film, like and I saw a YouTube video talk about how shitty of a actor James Franco was, which I disagree with. He was saying
Really?
like in the graduation scene when they're graduating high school, he like when Norman is talking to Peter, Harry just kind of like, and he walks away like he was talking about how that was shitty acting, but no, because all he wants is his father's admiration. Yet he's over here giving it to Peter, right?
Yeah,
so
that's
Peter,
exactly what happened.
So Norman looks at Peter as the son that he wants. So the fact that he's having that inner debate with himself, the personality split, he's having that debate saying, I can't, because he looks at him as a son. He's like, no, I can't do it. And then the goblin in the mirror in his head is saying, fuck that, go get him. You know what I mean? So that is something that I appreciated. That it's very similar to Doc Ock in 2. That chip in his neck, right? So when that like he's not a bad man, that chip in his neck controlled his brain, messed with his brain, and there were those moments where, granted, not until the end, where he's like, when that cracked, he's like, I'm going to sacrifice myself now, because to fix all the things that I've done wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's and probably the best example was Sandman. Sandman was just a bad luck all throughout.
Yeah.
I can't say that about Venom, but
I was about to say Eddie Brock was absolute garbage from the jump.
Yeah.
He was absolutely. Yes. If I ever had to have a competition with another photographer, and it was someone like Eddie Brock, oh, trust and believe, I'm doing everything petty that I can to mess him up.
So I think, what are we? We're at about an hour and a half here.
Probably.
Let's run
about an hour, a little over an hour.
Let's run through 2 and 3 as best that we can.
Yeah.
I don't want to bore the audience, but so 2. Overall, what did you think of 2?
Cinematically, like I said before, that was the best one.
Okay.
I think that Doc Ock was probably the best way to explain how he became Doc Ock. So I thought that was very original, to be honest, because I didn't read the comic books, Spider-Man comic books like that to know how his origin began.
I honestly don't remember.
I don't. So to me, that was the best way to explain, is that, it was a bad experiment gone. It was an experiment gone wrong, and the arms ended up taking over his brain, basically.
I'll say he was also menacing, like Green Goblin.
He was
scary.
I loved his character. I think that this goes back to what I was saying with Toby just being too old, because now when you're going from 1 to 2, Peter looks like he's mid-20s, and this is supposed to be within a year and a half, 2 years. So to me, it just the I'm sorry, there's a 2-year gap between the 1 and 2, so maybe 1 and 3. So 1 and 2 would have to be about a year, and to go a year into the story and him look that old, he just he progressed fast in look. He just aged. So that was one thing that was distracting between 2 and 3.
I feel like my eyes don't work the same as you, because I felt like he looked the same.
He looked older. He looked and he looked old in 1, but he looked older in 2 and 3.
That real quick, he almost didn't play it in 2. You know that? Toby, yeah, because he had an injury from Seabiscuit, I believe. He had an injury, and they were. I don't know that he was officially cast, but the role was going to go to Gyllenhaal.
Really?
Same script, same storyline. They were just going to recast him because they had to get going. But he managed to work through it, and he was still injured, but he was handling it. Toby.
Wow.
So I'm happy to just continuity purposes. Like, as great as Gyllenhaal is, and he made it to a Spider-Man film.
Yeah,
Did a damn good job too.
most definitely, most definitely.
But I think I don't see it in that with as far as age goes. I think two was a great movie. I think Doc Ock was a great villain. I think Harry annoyed the fuck out of me. I think he was doing his best to run the company to honor his father, but he just kind of came off prissy to me, which is how it was written. He performed it the way it was written.
Yeah.
It just annoyed me.
Yeah. I enjoyed Doc Ock. The pace of the story was much better. I will say that. The pace of the story, this is probably 2 is the best of the trilogy to me. So
I mean, I still say 1 personally for me, but I'm not mad at you saying that. I see it.
Yeah, it's mainly because it's pace. I didn't see much issues with continuity as much as I did with the first one. Yeah. You could see certain things, but it wasn't as bad to me. So I'm not gonna dump on it like that. I think that it was a good movie. It was good. I felt bad. Aunt May, she should have died. She should have died from a heart attack falling down from the top of that building. You know what I'm saying?
She's another one. Not in 3 though. She didn't get kidnapped in 3. She didn't 1 and 2.
She managed to escape that fate.
Yeah.
That's actually true. She should have died when Green Goblin busted her room down.
That's to this day. I know it's happening. If I'm half paying attention, that's scared the shit out of me.
Oh, bro. Look, if that happened in real life, I'm telling you right now, man.
Now this side note. I went and saw the Dark Knight trilogy in theater. Not Batman Begins. They didn't show that. They showed Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. Okay. And I watched them back to back, and I'm trying to remember what part in Dark Knight it was, but the part where somebody's standing and they're looking out. I think it was the judge. I forget, but it's standing looking outside the window, and then a body it scared the shit out of me.
Okay, now God. That made me jump when I saw the movie. But see that's why, like, to me, I'm thinking, why don't you have a gun in your room? Because I would have grabbed my gun. I bust into my room like that. My gun is right there. So that was my thought on that. Like, but she's what, 70, 80 years old. So likelihood of her being.
Can we talk about how they de-aged Aunt May through the series?
She looked mad young in 3 versus 1.
No. I'm talking about Rosemary Harris from this trilogy. Oh man.
Oh, you're talking about to the new series.
Yeah. So they bring. I forget her name. She's an amazing actress. Yeah, I forget her name for the Amazing Spider-Man. And then Homecoming, you got Marissa Tomei, who's just, oh my god. I've loved Marissa Tomei my whole life. She is just gorgeous. But that like this, I think this Aunt May is getting dark in here. I'm sorry.
You got
not Marissa Tomei. Rosemary Harris, who played Aunt May in this trilogy, is the Aunt May that we've seen in the comic books. It's the Aunt May we've seen in the animation, right? And there's nothing wrong with aging her down. That's fine. I don't care. I'm not a snob about that.
This one right here, she acted younger the more the series went, because it looked like she was kind of like.
Well, she was getting feisty in her old age.
She was getting real spunky.
She's kicking, and I never even realized that was Joel McHale in the bank. That she's kicking.
And you know who else I didn't realize was actually even in this trilogy? Octavia Spencer in the first one.
So you got Octavia Spencer. Octavia Spencer, Joel McHale, Donnell Rawlings,
That lady from Bones. I forget.
yeah,
I don't know her name.
Deschanel.
Yeah,
Forget her first name.
She was
Her,
in
Joy
two.
Bryant too. Yep, Joy Bryant.
Joy Bryant.
She's from NBC's Parenthood. She was a 50s love interest in Get Rich or Die Trying.
Oh,
Now she's a one-liner.
Yeah.
Dominic Lumberda, I can't say his last name, from The Wire. In the end of one. These like one like, and then the New York comedian, he has a radio show too, I forget his name, he was in, he's like he said he's like in the like news talking about it, he's like he's crap and I don't like him, like like he's a comedian.
And Joe
Manganiello.
Yeah, I always mess up his last name.
So there's him, and then there's and now I don't know if you want to count this as a celebrity, but the dude who played Young 50 and Get Rich or Die Trying, and played Lil Cease and Is he a celebrity?
I guess so.
Dakota Fanning is in this too, so there's 10.
Wait, Dakota Fanning, where?
She's in 2. She's in Spider-Man 2. When the ball's going in the street and Spider-Man swoops up and grabs those 2 kids, and he's like, "Don't run in the street," whatever he says.
Oh, that was her?
Yeah.
Bro, I didn't even realize that. Speaking of Spider-Man saving someone, how stupid was that kid in 1? when the Goblin's glider went through that air balloon and it just comes crashing down and all this stuff is crashing around him, he's just standing there just like how stupid was that kid? Like run.
Doesn't he say, "Oh, come on, kid," or something like that? Like,
come on, move, kid. Yeah, he's just standing there looking at it. And he's gonna sit there and scream for his mommy when he gets handed over. Come on, man.
But I want to say, like, his quips, because a lot of people say that Toby as was a good Peter, bad Spider-Man. But I think his dumb quips made him a good Spider-Man.
I think he was a good Spider-Man, okay Peter Parker versus Tom Holland. Yeah, when I compare them, that's how it is for me.
Yeah,
for the time, I thought he was good.
I really like the quips that he makes, like when he we're going back to 1, but when he brings MJ from saving her there. When she's falling off at that festival. Macy Gray.
Macy Gray, yeah.
Macy Gray is in it. But I'm trying to remember what he says. He has something about
she's got to use the elevator.
Yeah, just dumb little quips like that. And
no, I like that.
I like that. I think Tom Holland has them. I like them.
He has them, but he's like they're stronger. They're stronger because he's saying these lines while he's fighting. You know, while he's in action, he's still saying it, and that's how I remember Spider-Man in the comic, in the comic books, and also in the animated series.
Animation. Yeah. So, and Andrew Garfield's, and he had them. However, to me, they weren't funny. He was being an asshole.
Yeah.
And to me, Spider-Man's not an asshole.
Not at all. And I agree with that. I think for me, I Tom Holland is just it. He's the whole package. And then I put Tobey Maguire there.
So.
But the third one is nothing to talk about.
What are we rating to? What are you rating to? So you gave 1 8.5. This you already said is better.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 9.5 on this one.
9.5.
Okay. Yeah, I go 9.5 on this one. There was still issues, but you know.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5 just because I like 1 better.
Yeah.
And there's really no real reason. I just like Goblin that much. Yeah, that's really it. I just like Goblin that much that I just give it the slight edge. And listen, let's talk about 3. It's not good,
It's
but I
trash.
also don't think it's as bad as
No,
people make it out to
no, it's
be.
absolute
Um,
garbage. Waste of film.
I
Waste of
read
everything
up
for me.
read up on what it was supposed to be.
See, that's what I don't like. I don't like having to see that there was a different proposal
No,
or idea
I'm just
for a film.
I want to have that conversation with you, just both of us as filmmakers,
Okay.
because Sony meddled in because it was just supposed to be
And Sony
Sandman
keeps doing that.
with a with a side story of Hobgoblin that would have continued on in the franchise instead of having Harry die at the end.
Well, see, that's the thing. With this one, I think there was too it was too much. There was, with all the villains. You had Hobgoblin, Venom, Sandman. Um, there wasn't anyone else in there, was it?
No.
Hobgoblin, Venom, and Sandman, and I think that they were all poorly constructed characters. It felt like 3 was a rush in writing and
Yes,
in production.
because Sony butted in when they were so close to starting, and they said, "No, we need to bring in Venom." And Sam Raimi, with the time he had, didn't want to bring Venom in. He said, I don't know Venom because Venom is
You can
not been
tell.
around. Venom has not been around
Yeah,
forever, right?
yeah,
It was a
no.
late, So he said, "I don't know Venom, so I need the time to get to know Venom." And Sony said, "Nope, you're doing it. You have to."
Yeah,
And
and I
so
think
he was forced to bring it in. Listen, I think Topher Grace is a good actor. He's not the one that I would have chosen to play Eddie Brock. I think he did the best with what he could as himself. You know what I mean? I don't want to say he's a bad actor. I just think he was a bad choice for the movie.
I think the character was a bad choice in general.
It was not written well.
It was poorly written, poorly executed.
I think it comes off as creepy when he's telling Captain Stacy, "I'm dating your daughter," and then later on, like she's it's almost as if they've only met once.
I was gonna
It's like
say that
that's
it
creepy.
seemed like they not only were they not dating, it's like they only went out for coffee one time, and that was pretty much it.
Like, I'm dating your daughter.
Yeah, it was very very weird.
You one of them
don't
creepy
like.
motherfuckers.
Yeah, I didn't like that at all. Nothing about his character was good to me. And from what I remember, Eddie Brock was a football player.
Eddie Brock should be big. Eddie Brock.
So what
Manganiello could have been.
He was a perfect choice for, and he was in 3. Like he made a
Manganiello.
Yes, at Harry's funeral. He was right behind. He was right behind Mary Jane. And I'm like,
I've never realized that. Now I want to go back and look at it. I never
go back
noticed
and look at that. He was standing right there behind her. I mean, he was like a quick appearance, but
a little Easter egg.
Yeah, it would have made sense, and it did make sense because it was all high school friends, I guess. I assumed that everybody else at the funeral were all high school friends.
If Raimi was able to give Sandman the time he wanted to, it would have strengthened Sandman because Sandman wasn't perfect, but I enjoyed Sandman.
I will say this:
Thomas Hayden Church is a great actor.
Yeah, I enjoy the humanistic qualities that he brought out in the character. I enjoyed that, but excuse me, the characteristics of Sandman in this film, they were just okay.
It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad.
No, Venom was trash, horrible.
I did somewhat. Now the chemistry of the symbiote is what I struggle with in 3. How come for Peter it's a suit, but for Eddie it's him? the chemistry of that didn't make sense to me. That's continuity, like you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Like that just doesn't make sense. Why it's you know what I mean?
It made Spider-Man's suit black. Not
which
only
is cool.
that,
I don't know. I
oh,
thought
I
that
love.
was cool.
Look, black is my favorite color, so I'm down with it. But the changing of the emblem on his back and chest
Didn't make sense.
made no sense. Now, and I remember like when I was playing the video game, that was I loved playing as that Spider-Man because he was just more powerful. But even back then, I remember thinking about like why is the crest different? That makes no sense to me.
Yeah,
it makes no sense. So I mean, I guess because and see, this is what really threw me off when Peter was laying in his bed and a symbiote was crawling up to him to get to Peter. Peter didn't have his mask on, but all of a sudden, when it attaches to Peter, now it wraps around and becomes his mask.
And then he can just take it off.
And he can just take it. And then he took the mask off when after he tested out the suit. He took the mask off, just like he would regularly take the mask off.
He had those corny like lines too, like, and I remember like he takes out like, well, this is something.
Yeah,
Like, shut the fuck up.
and it was just weird. It was, and then I was thinking like, okay, so is he wearing this suit under his clothes the entire time? Because you remember most of the time.
No, but he didn't though, because it was hanging in the closet.
Think about this. When the symbiote got to him, right? He started having these characteristics that were abnormal, right? That weren't Peter.
That's why it doesn't make sense.
I remember seeing him do this, and he had the suit underneath his clothes.
Yeah, no, but he does that with his red and blue suit.
With his red and blue suit, yeah. But so he basically kept it on, which made no sense at all.
He did that in the other films too, though.
But it made no sense. That's the part that doesn't make any sense to me. Is that he's keeping all of these. Why are you wearing this in the dead of summer?
Yeah, motherfucker, it's hot.
New York is hot in the summer, bro.
But why does Superman do it? No, like.
Fair point.
Batman can't do it.
Batman can't.
So, but like, you know, Spider-Man, there's those shots in all the movies where he's running and even in your boy Tom Holland's movies, it's underneath because he's ripping his clothes off to go fight crime. You know what I mean? Like it's just part of the gig. But I'm just saying the science of it didn't make sense because it's affecting his personality, but it's a suit that he takes off and hangs in his closet. Now the symbiote has a personality. It's not going to be a suit hanging in a closet.
That's what makes no sense. That's when it makes no sense because if he's wearing it and he's also taking it off to hang up and put in a suitcase, like none of that makes sense to me. It just and he's still and it's not like he stopped acting like this wild off character. He still acted like that. So it's kind of I don't know. It was weird.
The real nasty thing to me that I don't see people talking about enough or at all is the fact that he backhands Mary Jane. Boy, I'll fuck you up. You put your hands on a woman.
Bro,
like, I don't care.
Bro. And she still took him back.
Yeah.
That's what doesn't make sense to me, man. I don't get any of this. I
didn't like adding Gwen Stacy. What did Gwen Stacy
made no sense.
What did she add to it?
Nothing.
Now, mind you, she was supposed to be a part of 4, so maybe they were just building onto her character, which is apparently what they're going to be doing. Which is what they're going to be. Oh, I'm sorry, I just am getting text messages.
No, you good, man.
But I'm just saying. Something that they're doing for Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies. You know, they're building on to do 6. Now, hopefully they don't get canceled, which it's MCU now, or not. They're contracted with MCU, so they're not going to. But apparently, and we talked about it in the last episode, that they're going to slowly start introducing Dr. Connors, Lizard, and Dr. Octavius, Doc Ock, into 4 and 5 to have them eventually be villains in 6 or 7.
Well,
And then they're
building
also building
toward.
on doing a Sinister Six.
That's what I was about to say. They're
Um,
building they're building toward that, so it makes sense that they introduce them within 3 and 4. It
But
would
that's
make
what I'm
sense for
saying
them to
is
do
like
that.
they're slow. They're not going to be villains. They're going to be professors,
Right,
right?
right,
They're
right,
going
right.
to be
Which I
teachers.
love.
So yeah,
Which I
yeah.
love.
So, but I don't. I feel bad saying Gwen Stacy was a waste of screen time when it could have been building towards something else.
She was still a waste of screen time.
Yes, I agree.
Like
But,
the
yeah.
only thing that she was useful for was making MJ jealous. That was it. There was no use for her character. Now Peter is in a relationship with Gwen Stacy in the comic books.
Yeah. Oh, they're also apparently adding Gwen Stacy into Spider-Man 3, by the way.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah, no, now this is all rumors, but I am
Yeah.
afraid that they're starting to make the same mistakes of adding too much at once.
Yeah.
So
maybe it'll be maybe they're shooting 3 and 4 at the same time. Maybe they're doing that. And if they do that, that makes more sense because if you introduce her character toward the end of 3 going into 4, I that would make sense. But
do you like the potential
college?
Do you like the potential name for Spider-Man 3? Did you see it?
I think I did see it, but I forgot what it was.
So 1 was Homecoming. Mm-hmm. 2 was Far From Home, and what I'm seeing the rumored name is Homesick. Hey, this is a podcast. It's not supposed to be silent.
I'm sorry.
Everybody
man.
just looked at their phone, their radio, Six Families, what up? They're like, wait, what happened? Did my stuff just break down?
I don't even know what to say to that. Homesick.
I don't mind it. I like it because he's on the run. He wants to be with Ned. He wants to be with his homeboy Ned. He wants to be with MJ. I just turned New York for some reason. I don't know. I turned into Tom Holland talking to Childish Gambino. No. When he's in the Liberty Tower, like talking like a New Yorker.
No, I get it. I'm not against it. My whole thing is I don't want every Spider-Man movie to be home something.
That was when I saw Far From Home, which isn't a bad title. I'm like, oh, do we have to do this for all 6?
That's what I was hoping. Okay, you do Far From Home, and then you move on to something else.
Now we're really far from home.
Now
no
you're real. Yeah. Now you're homesick. What's the 4th one? Be Home Again, or Homeward Bound? I don't want to go to this.
That'll be 4. Homeward Bound, that dog movie. I love that movie. It's a good movie.
Oh, I did too.
It's a great.
I hated the cat.
Oh man, fuck that
cat. I hate cats.
By the way, that cat. Now, so when you said that cat, name came to me. Played by Sally Fields, who played Aunt May in Amazing Spider-Man.
Yes.
The name came to me. I couldn't think of it.
And so I don't know what the future holds for Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but I will say that I think this character, this MCU in general is in good hands. They're pacing everything very well. So even if they were to have a casting for a Gwen Stacy, okay, let's see what you do with it. They have not shown me one thing that I am sitting here worried about.
No.
So I trust them with what they're going to do, but at the same time, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued because I don't know how because Zendaya, they haven't fully confirmed. They gave her a different name, so it's kind of weird. I don't know. That's one thing I'm confused about.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm reading that they're going to bring in a real redhead MJ.
I see, and
then Gwen Stacy too.
That's what confuses me because if to me,
that's all rumors, but
to me, I'm fine with Zendaya actually being Mary Jane. That, cool. I'm down with that. Because there's nothing that ever said that she has to be a white woman. She just has to be a redhead.
It was the same purists mad about Zendaya that were mad about Michael B. Jordan playing Human Torch. Who cares?
For sure. And see, that's the thing. I'm cool with that. That's what I'm saying. When you have characters that aren't fully established in one specific thing, her race isn't like the established part of her character. So I'm cool with it.
I get that she was a redhead in all the animated series and all of the comic books. Cool.
Well,
I don't care.
she's a redhead, so Zendaya is a redhead in the film. So I'm
as long as Spider-Man has spider powers, I don't care about the rest.
Right. So do it the right way. I don't want to see them now bring in Mary Jane, like a white redhead, because that now makes no sense because she wasn't in high school with him.
They got Liz Allen, who wasn't in 2. Now I read a rumor that she may come back in a cameo as a hero version of Vulture to save or to help assist Tom on the run, Peter on the run.
I heard that She-Hulk was supposed to help him
as a lawyer, or Daredevil. I mean, there's so many rumors around. You don't know what's true. Charlie Cox. Now he could be lying. Has said that he hasn't been contacted for it, but he would do it. I would love that.
He has been contacted.
See, but I think She-Hulk is going to be, because they're going to, like, that's the best way to introduce her, because she's getting her own series on Disney Plus.
That's true too.
I think that's the route that they would go, although I would prefer Charlie Cox, Daredevil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about them saying, Vincent D'Onofrio saying that he's fine with Big Show playing Kingpin? Because Vincent D'Onofrio to me is the perfect casting. Perfect casting for Kingpin. He makes the most sense for the character in general. I love Michael Clark Duncan, but he was just a big guy in the film. He didn't add depth to the character, and it's not fully his fault. The script, that was mainly the script's issue. Excuse me, but I think Vincent D'Onofrio is the perfect casting for that. So I would love to see them bring him in for
what they
Spider-Man.
need to do is they need to make a determination on whether or not they're going to interconnect the Netflix series.
And it should be an easy thing to do.
It's licensing though, so they need to wait until whatever the contract stipulation.
That's now.
Is it up?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I think by the end of this year. I think by the end of this year it'll already be. If it's not already now.
They're starting Homesick this month. Next month.
Homesick. That's a horrible title. But yeah, I see. And that's the thing. I think they're now at that point where it's the first one was Daredevil. So it would make sense that you go ahead and bring Daredevil and Kingpin into the MCU.
Now, Iron Fist, we can do without. Like,
I need Iron Fist. Iron Fist is trash, especially the guy that comic book Iron Fist.
Yes,
I'm down with.
Let's do that. Let's have now, because there's the big comic book series of Defenders included Spider-Man. So if we want to give them their own little thing. Now, but that might be something to wait on though, because I want a Defenders led by Spider-Man. Right? So maybe wait until Tom Holland. Now, mind you, Tom Holland's my age. He's 24 and he still looks like a kid. So how long are we going? Because he should lead a team. He should lead it. Spider-Man should lead a team.
I think Spider-Man will be leading by 4 or 5.
At this now, of course, what's happening in 3 is going to make him grow up quick.
Yes, he's got no choice.
But I just feel like they're keeping him a kid so long, and that was one of the things that bothered me about 2, was that he didn't bring his suit, and he's like, man, I just want to be a kid. I want to hang out with Ned. I want to date MJ, and forget all this Spider-Man stuff, right? And that was something that I already said that I appreciated about Tobey's, is that he understood his responsibilities. He got the depth of everything, and then it just seemed whiny to me.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about someone he's toward the end of his high school tenure.
Yeah.
That knows, hey, I'm about to go into college. I'm not going to have enough time to do this, that, and the other. Let me just chill for a second. That to me seemed more realistic, because I remember when I was going from high school to college, I didn't want to go to college. I only went to college because my parents wanted me to go to college. That was it. If I had my choice, I wasn't going to college. But like I get it. I think that
It's not a big thing to gripe about. It just was something that I was like, oh, grow the fuck up.
But see, that's the thing though. I think we have a few more years of him looking that young to where he can still pull off high school to college transition, which we're gonna get in this coming film. So I'm fine with it. Where moving forward, he'll be college age. He'll still look that age by that time.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with that. I think he'll be leading, but I think it is time to go ahead and bring Daredevil into this universe. Charlie Cox's trail. If it's not Charlie Cox, I don't want Daredevil.
I want Ben Affleck. No, I'm kidding. He's pretty.
Which was still that was actually still a good movie. I have no problem.
Elektra wasn't.
Oh, Elektra was absolute garbage. But the Bullseye and Daredevil were great.
Yeah. All right. So listen, I think this has been a great episode.
Yeah.
I think this
But
has
what's
been
your grade
great
for the third one? We never gave our grades.
I'm gonna give it a C. I'm gonna give it a. Or no, we're not doing letters. We're 5. And that's high.
I'm giving it a 0.
I'm giving it a 5 because I was satisfied with the Hobgoblin turn. No, not perfect. I had been wanting that since the end of 1. I was happy to see it, and it could have been done better. Not in terms of acting. The acting was great. In terms of writing.
The actual character.
I was happy with that. He deserved a better death if he was going to die. He saved Peter, which was, I think, the ultimate forgiveness that Peter would need. I enjoyed that storyline, and while we're talking about that, I think I told you this off mic, but for the audience, my son was playing with a Hobgoblin action figure and a Spider-Man action figure, and he was literally quoting lines from the film. Like I was just listening, right? But he had him, and he said, I protected you in high school, and now I'm gonna kick your little ass. I was like, hey, boy, listen.
Oh, that's awesome.
I protected you in high school, and now I'm gonna kick your little ass. I was like, hey, chill out, man.
Oh,
we don't talk like that.
Hilarious.
I do, man.
Yeah.
That made me. I was dying, bro. I was dying.
See, that's why I'm not mature enough to have kids right now. Because if I hear a kid curse, that's gonna. I'm done. I'm gonna go to another. Hell yeah! I'm gonna go to another room.
I got another story off mic for you. But let's wrap it up there. You gave it a 0. I give it a. What, I don't even remember. I think I gave it a 5.
5.
It don't matter.
Should have even been made.
Yeah. It should have been made. It should have been made right.
Should have been made right.
Been made the way Sam Raimi wanted it to. And
I think if he had his choice, I think the movie would have been much better.
He can and likely will redeem it. Because I do believe they're bringing Toby back into the MCU.
Yeah.
I don't mean for his own to finish off his series, but cameos. I think he'll be able to redeem it because I believe Toby will have a cameo in Doctor Strange 2, and I believe we will lead into a Spider-Verse film, maybe in 4, because I think that could be cool to have Dr. Connors maybe help explain the physics of all of this. I think that could be cool. I think that'd be great. So I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man's my favorite. I don't know if do you care to watch any animated series at this point as an adult?
Yeah, it depends on what it is. I'm going through Boondocks again right now.
So you have Disney Plus, right?
Yeah.
Disney XD is currently producing a Spider-Man series, animated series. They're going into season 4, I think.
I think I've seen part of it.
I watch it with my son. It is honestly phenomenal. Like I love it. Like it is
think I've seen part
really
of it.
Good.
Yeah, because they have a one where what's the name? I forget their names. It was like the Beetle kid.
Beetle.
Excuse me. I don't know. Some guy with a beetle on his back. I forget his name. But Disney XD does have a couple of those characters that I've seen. I've seen a couple of episodes of their shows before.
Yeah, no, I would honestly like recommend like binging it, and that could be something we talk about on here. Like we can compare. Yeah. Like there's so many Spider-Man series. I've seen them all. Drake Bell's I actually enjoyed. I think was pretty good.
The one
Ultimate Spider-Man.
The one that I grew up on. I'm not sure. Did you see that one when you were a kid?
The 80s one?
In the 80s to 90s, yeah.
Yes, that's my favorite. There was one after that with Neil Patrick Harris that wasn't good. Neil Patrick Harris played Peter Parker, Spider-Man.
I've heard about it. I've never seen it though.
I just hear Barney Stinson.
Yeah, that's why
I would legend. Watch it. Wait for it, Derrick. But no, like that can be something we talk about too. Before we sign off, I mentioned seeing the Dark Knight films. When I saw Rises in theaters, this is my first time watching it since it originally came out. Really? I didn't love it, but I think I didn't love it because of my attachment to Heath Ledger's Joker and knowing that he was supposed to be in this one as well. Honestly, watching them back to back, you're going to kill me. I'm going to give Rises the edge over Dark Knight. Because to me, honestly, right now, and Dark Knight is a film that I watch not monthly like Spider-Man 1, but it's one that I watch every 6 months maybe because it is a great film. But to me, I find myself fast forwarding through the parts that the Joker's not in. And I know you like Rises. I just right now, like watching them back to back, I was like, oh, okay, Rises was really good.
I like it, but I think what messed it up completely for me was them trying to use Robin as a cop and then introduce him as Robin. That made no sense.
That was just an Easter egg. That's all.
Yeah, but that made no sense. That made no sense. I hated that Easter egg because it made no sense.
It didn't make sense. I
be that old, make him Nightwing, and have him come in when Batman is supposedly dead.
What was his name? What
Robin Blake.
Yeah, no, but in the movie, he went by Blake something else. Blake was like he was using as his last name. Yeah, he had a different first name. I forget what it was. And then just in the why if you're going to get a legal whatever, you're gonna give your fake name, and he's like, oh, it might be under Robin. Bitch, calm down.
That was horrible.
Yeah, it was just a bad Easter egg. I did enjoy his character throughout the film. I just didn't need that. That's all.
Yeah, I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt actor, but
we should talk about. I haven't seen it. We should talk about his movie with Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx's movie.
I watched it last week.
Did you? I heard it's trash, but I haven't seen it.
Watch it and then we'll talk about it because we discussed it on No Chase and I'm still confused about it.
Okay, I'll watch it. I'm sure it'll end up being a trilogy or something.
I hope not.
We talked about Extraction. Chris Evans is in talks to join the sequel.
Yes.
And
that's going to be interesting. That's going to be very interesting.
Tom Holland has a new movie coming out on Netflix, starring him and Robert Pattinson. That looks great.
I'm looking forward to that. The Devil's something.
Yes. Before we do our Chadwick episode, make sure I don't think you haven't watched it yet. 21 Bridges.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet.
It's great. I saw it in theaters. I love that movie. I'm the Friday Night Lights fan in me. Taylor Kitsch, who played Tim Riggins, was the villain in 21 Bridges. So I really enjoy. I love anything he does, except for when he played Gambit. Is that his fault?
Yes, it is.
No, the movie sucked. The movie sucked. The writing sucked. I'm not saying
solely his fault, but yes, it is his fault.
Hey, Tim Riggins went to jail so Gambit could exist. That's all I know. They put him in jail so he can miss a couple episodes so he can do Gambit.
Oh God, that was horrible, man. I hated that. I hated that. And
That's
then
what I'm saying, man. The
Will
the
I
Wolverine
Am,
movies sucked. Well, man.
that was just garbage, man. We could go into a whole thing about Fox trashing up all these Marvel movies, but I
Yeah,
don't even
they're
think it's an
MCU
episode
now.
long
That's
enough.
all I know. Now, so Hellboy, who owns Hellboy? Because it's an MCU or it's a Marvel character, but who owns it? Not Fox.
From what I understand, I don't think that's a Marvel character.
It's a Marvel comic.
It might be a branded one, but it's not. I don't think it's one of those that they own the
'Cause that's
rights to. I think they publish it or something like that because
well, because that
someone
because
else owns
honestly,
that.
I think Hellboy could do well, very like comedically do well, in light of a Drax style character.
I think he could, but I don't
In the
think there's any
in the
way they
Marvel.
can incorporate him into this. I don't, any way, shape, or form. I don't think there's any way they can bring him into this. And if it's not
Not
gonna be
right
Ron
now, but
Perlman, I don't
Ron
want to see
Perlman
it.
was great. Did you watch the David Harbour one?
Nope.
Wasn't as bad as people said it was.
Yeah,
Um,
I just want to see Ron Perlman in that role, and I don't think we're ever gonna see him again in that role. So
no,
it's just I'm good. But I don't think that's I forgot I read how that goes, but I forgot what they said. But I think it's that Marvel is a distribution for it, but they don't own the rights to the character.
I
Something
think
like that.
I think it would be interesting to see that character, whoever me play it, uh,
Yeah.
like link in with MCU because I think that could be really good. Because we know after Guardians 3, those characters are honestly just essentially done. To bring in a new Guardians, not the same characters, but Guardians like Legends of Tomorrow, like whatever. That is like a revolving door of heroes.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they're gonna end it. I know Dave Bautista wants to play Bane.
Yeah, he does, and I wouldn't mind seeing it, but
I watched Stuber last night. Have you seen that?
no.
It's on HBO Max.
Yeah, I
Watch
saw it
it.
on. I didn't watch it though.
Let's talk about it. I think because
Okay.
I think what's his name? Not Batista.
His co-star in that movie.
Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah.
He's a great actor. You know what?
Oh, he is, and he's gonna be in Eternals.
Eternals, yep.
Yeah.
And he's oh Jesus, he got bit by a spider the way he bulked up overnight.
Yeah. Yeah.
His film The Big Sick. Have you seen that?
Mm-mm.
That is a true story about him and his wife. So, and
Okay.
it is a phenomenal movie. It stars him and his real life wife, Ray Romano as her father, and I forget the actress, like classic legendary actress plays her mother. And it is just a beautiful, beautiful film that I think you would like. So
Okay.
check it out.
Yeah.
Let's End Real is here. I think it's been a great episode
Yes,
to the
sir.
audience. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I would gather to say our next episode will be us going over Chadwick Boseman's filmography. So look forward to that. Rest in peace to Chadwick. Like we said earlier, he's impacted all of our lives and will continue to do so. Well wishes and blessings to his family and to you guys as well. We'll see you guys next time.